when there is nothing left but love. Chapter 5. Today is my lucky day. Rebecca was stunned upon hearing my words. Her eyes darkened a little and she looked back at Ashton, tugging on his sleeve before telling him softly, "Ash, I was out of line last night. I see that I have disturbed both you and Scarlett. Can you ask her to stay to have breakfast with us? Just take it as an apology from me, please." Haha. Indeed. Some people don't need to work to earn an ounce of affection. All they need to do is bat their lashes and act vulnerable, and they'll be able to get away with even murder. Ashton had initially paid me no heed, but when Rebecca spoke up, he glanced at me and stated, "Let us eat together." His tone was cold and commanding. Did it hurt? I was already numb to the pain. I flashed a smile and nodded. Thank you. I could never bear to refuse Ashton, because he was someone whom I had fallen in love with at first sight. Getting over him would be undoubtedly difficult. I suppose that it was my lucky day, since this was the first time that I got to taste the food made by Ashton. Fried eggs and bacon were nothing special, but they still left a deep impression on me. All along, I had thought that a man like Ashton Fuller was above everyone else. I thought he would never stoop so low as to cook with his own 2 hands. "Scarlett, try the fried eggs that Ash has made. They're excellent. When we were together, he always made this for me," Rebecca urged while placing an egg on my plate. Then, with a saccharine smile on her face, she gave one to Ashton as well. "Ash, you promised to accompany me to see the flowers today. You can't break your promise." "Okay." Ashton responded while eating his breakfast. His movements as refined as that of a prince. He was never one to speak unnecessarily, but whenever it came to Rebecca, he would always be sure to respond to all of her questions and requests. Joyread seemed to be accustomed to this already as he ate his breakfast in a sophisticated manner. He was quietly watching our interactions as if he was an outsider. I lowered my gaze as my brows furrowed into a frown. Grandpa's funeral is today. If Ashton leaves with Rebecca, what's going to happen to our plan of going to the Fuller's family home? No one could fully enjoy their breakfast today. After having a few bites, Ashton headed upstairs to change his clothes. I set my cutlery down and followed after him. In the bedroom, Ashton knew that I had entered after him, so he asked in an indifferent voice, "Do you need something?" With that, he casually removed his clothes, putting his sturdy figure on display. I instinctively turned around so that my back would face him. "Grandpa's funeral is today." I heard some shuffling noises behind me as well as the sound of his zipper being zipped. His monotonous voice soon followed. "You can go over yourself." The frown on my face deepened. "He is your grandfather, Ashton." Ashton was the eldest grandson of the Fullers. If he were absent from the funeral, what would the rest of his family think? "I've already told Joseph Campbell to handle the funeral. You can communicate with him on the details." He spoke without emotion, as if he were explaining a matter that was irrelevant to him. When he walked toward his study, a pang of sadness engulfed me. I was quick to raise my voice. "Ashton, is everyone other than Rebecca dispensable to you? Does your family mean nothing to you?" He paused in his stride before turning to look at me with narrowed eyes, emanating a chilly vibe. He told me, "You're not in a position to lecture me on my family matters." After a brief pause, he curled his lips and spat disdainfully. "You're not worthy." His words hit me like a bucket of cold water, chilling me to the bone. As I listened to his gradually retreating steps, a mirthless chuckle escaped my lips. "I am unworthy. Ha! 2 long years had passed. Yet, my efforts in getting him to warm up to me were futile. I thought you were thick-skinned, but I never expected you to poke your nose into other people's businesses as well." A mocking voice reached my ears. I turned toward the voice and saw Rebecca leaning against the door frame with her arms crossed in front of her chest. Gone was her cute and innocent facade. Instead, a frosty expression had taken residence on her face. Welcome to download Joyread app to read more chapters of When There Is Nothing Left But Love novel online.